This is the Begin Within podcast, where we believe real, lasting health and fitness requires you to start inside before you work out. I'm your host, Nate Sleger, and I'm here to show you behind the scenes of fitness. You already know exercise is good for you, but what about all the other things in life that affect your fitness? If you're looking for extra motivation to get started or to make sure you keep going, this is the place for you.
Produced by BeginWithin.fit.
Improving health is about so much more than just losing weight. But I realize weight loss might be the goal that brought you here to the Begin Within podcast. That's why I wrote my latest book, 5 Ways to Stop Wrecking Weight Loss, to reveal the 5 areas that I see are most overlooked by the people that I work with who want to lose weight. Each one of the chapters in this free ebook describes that specific area that you need to focus on to improve your health and get great permanent results. And it also links back here to episodes of the podcast where we've had experts on the show talking about that specific area, so you can benefit from those previous episodes while you're learning about how to maximize the results that you're after. You can get your free copy of my ebook, 5 Ways to Stop Wrecking Weight Loss, by going to beginwithin.fit/ebook or going to the link in the show notes. Now is a great time to do a little multitasking while you're listening to the start of this episode. Head over to grab your free copy of my book, 5 Ways to Stop Wrecking Weight Loss. If you missed the URL, here it is again, beginwithin.fit/ebook, or there is a link in the show notes for you. Grab your copy, and now let's get on with today's episode. My guest today is no one. I am going to share with you instead a podcast on which I was the guest. That was with Hurricane H on the EMBC Network. I'll have a link in the show notes for you to listen to the entire interview. I'll just share a segment here with you. He, in that interview, asked me about how I got into health and fitness, how I got into personal training and nutrition coaching, and really came to be the host of the Begin Within podcast. So kind of an interesting conversation. I will leave those details over there on his feed waiting for you if you want to listen to that. But what I'm going to share with you is the conclusion of our conversation, because we got into some really interesting stuff about personal training, about motivation, about the best way to get started, and my top advice for fitness and health, the weight loss, making improvements when it comes to health. He asked me about that, and I was kind of surprised by the question, but happy to share my perspective on it. I hope that you enjoy it. Here is my interview with Hurricane H on the EMBC Network.
People sometimes they think that as long as I diet, I'm just gonna be super, fit. I'm gonna do all this. I'm gonna lose the weight. Why do you think, in your opinion, in your expertise, why are the main reasons people actually do get a personal trainer and establish their relationship? And hopefully, because again, I know there could be many reasons. In your expertise, what are the main kind of buckets, if you want, of clients that you get and what their needs are? And then we'll talk about the nutrition piece of it.
Yeah. I think the reason people work with a trainer or a nutrition coach or anybody is just it's simple. We do better when other people are expecting us to do better. We're social creatures as humans, and we show up when we have an appointment, and we work harder when someone's watching. We just do. And so if someone realizes that, then they're like, okay, if this is important to me, I need someone to help me with it. I need someone to guide me. I need someone to hold me accountable, someone to watch me, someone to talk to, someone who's been there before me so that I can bounce ideas off of them. That's it. They just realize that they need someone. And that, I think that's the main reason why people come to me. And of course, you know, I've done this a long time. I've learned what not to do, so now I know what to do. But the main thing is, it's someone in your corner, someone helping to support you, helping to pick you up when you're down, helping you keep you motivated when you're not feeling motivated. We do better with someone else.
Well, Nate, I love you always tend to go back to the motivation piece and the psychological piece of it, right? I think we tend to always think fitness is just the body and the motion and the work that you do, but we kind of live that out, like the mental state. And you've covered it a couple times, but you always go back to that point, because if you can tweak that, the mindset, you can tweak that motivation, and you can get them excited about it, the rest becomes a lot easier. And I love that balance, because you keep referring to it, and that means it's part of your core, formula. You use that, and it's an asset that you apply, and it actually does yield results, which sometimes you don't see a lot of that happening out there, especially when someone joins a regular gym. Let's just call it what it is. Most of the time, if they don't have a personal trainer, they just wing things out. They read, they see, they watch, and I'm just going to do this, right? Not everybody, especially if they're new or beginners in the gym, you don't even know where to start. I mean, everyone knows to go to the treadmill and or like a bike and just do some half-hour cardio and then start hitting the machines. But you see people making errors, you see them working the wrong way, and there's no real strategy for them. And there's no one to give them the advice, to your point, to get them to understand how it all works together. And I think that's the biggest, I guess, loss that they have when they don't have that personalized coaching. In your
Right.
case, it's different because you give them that, but you also work their mind, you work their actually psyche to understand the dynamics, and then you will be able to get the results that these people are expecting from you. And that's a
Yeah.
big that's a big piece of what you do, I think, and that's the success part of it. And again, I don't know your business well enough, but I can just, from what we hear now, and I know that your clients are probably very pleased with the results, because just by default, the way you break it down, it makes a whole different sense for anyone. I mean, if I were completely new to this and you just presented it the way, oh, I like this. I mean, and you're gonna work with me because you're gonna identify all these things. You, you want to have that, like that's what you want from your coach. That's what you want from your trainers, is that they're gonna be blunt with you, they're gonna be good with you. We see that in sports, right? I
Yep.
mean, coaches, they go crazy with their teams, right? I mean, they push, and it's spiritually everything. They go crazy with them, and they put them to the limit, but they understand them well. They put, they work every single angle to get the results. And I think that's important. And sometimes I think it's lost over, the general census in terms of the fitness world, because it's not always personalized.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would add, to what you were saying there, another thing that you get with a coach or a trainer that you can't, it's really hard to do by yourself, but it's a key to motivating, and it's a key to repeating an action. Psychologists, psychiatrists, they know that if you're going to do something again, you got to feel good. You got to feel good about it. Otherwise, why in the world would you do it? Right. There's a lot of study on dopamine receptors and all this, right? That's why drugs work, why they're addicted, because you feel so good that you don't feel normal again without it. And a coach can help you to feel good. And it's very difficult for any of us to just not be feeling good and then turn it around for ourselves. We need that influence. We need someone else encouraging us and helping us. And that, in training trainers and the groups I do consulting with too on the side, that's a huge thing for personal trainers. People have to feel good when they're done. Otherwise, why would they come back? You have to help them to feel good. And that's a big piece of what a good coach will do, whether it's nutrition, workouts, whatever. Help that individual feel good. You got to feel good. Otherwise, you won't do it. It's just too hard.
Well, that's the personal touch, and I think that's the unique piece about it, because again, you don't have that if you do it on your own. I mean, if you just wing it, you're winging it. I mean, that's cool. You might still feel good, but you don't even know what that means, what that looks like, right? You're guided. You have somebody to give you the guidance, and we all need, I guess, coaches and people to guide us in this life, right? We all need mentors, this is the same thing. You mentor
Yeah.
them into their health status and to the fitness and wellness being here, and it's just a different element. And I think that's kudos to you in the work. I mean, I know it's the whole art and the science that's behind it. It's not just, people don't just become personal trainers. I mean, you could, but to be good at it, you have to learn all the stuff, whether it's just the body, how it all works together, the chemistry of the body, the anatomy, the whole nine. I mean, everything, the machine world and what it does, the nutrition. It's a combination of all. But then you add to it the psyche piece of it and understand how the people work. And personalities also can be a clash. I mean, dealing with me may be different from dealing with five other customers doing the same exact thing. Would just be too many differences from one to the other, right? So it's a
Right.
challenge as well. So, and also the personality that you have makes a difference. I mean, if you are open and you're like, always, and you have to be firm when you need to, as opposed to you're not always going to say yes. Oh no, that's cool. It works. No, it doesn't work that way. I need you to do it this way. You have to be also very, firm when you decide on things and you tell them what's up. That's it. They got to hear you and they got to listen. So there's so many things there. So that brings us to the motivation piece. And I know we briefly talked about the resolution, but this is a new year. What do you think is the biggest piece that we can share with people today about being motivated, about being better? I know you said the key word here, feel good. Is that motivation enough?
So I think the word easy comes to mind. When I think the second Friday of January is like Quitters Day, National Quitters Day, because people try to do something that's so hard. I want to change my whole life today. I'm going to eat totally different. I'm going to start working out 7 days a week, but I haven't been working out any days a week before January 1st. We have a culture where we want to take on something really hard. And a lot of times it's because we think we need a really complicated solution because the problem feels complicated to us. It feels heavy. We feel bad about where we let ourselves go. And so we think we need this big elaborate solution. And so we take something on it's too hard to do for very long. Motivation runs out really quickly. That it's a feeling. And when we have it, we feel like we can do anything. And then when it's gone, we just walk away disappointed. And so the word easy, I think, is really important, is focus on something that is really, really attainable. It's something easy, you can do, but it's different than what you've been doing. And it's definitely going to be healthier. It's definitely going to move you toward healthier, but just focus on one easy thing. Again, progress it's going to come a lot quicker than what you think, because you think, oh, it's too easy. It's not going to help. It will help. Once that's done, you pick another thing and another thing and another thing. And in a few weeks, a few months, you have a different life because you've been practicing all these easy things. And because they're easy, you don't need a lot of motivation to do them. And when you do them, you actually get more motivated. So that's how we found motivation works the best, is when we actually stop trying to do hard things, focus on easy.
Well, I love what you said. I think that's very powerful. I mean, you really nailed it, because to your point, you have not done anything, and all of a sudden you want to just come in and do everything, and it doesn't work that way. Nothing happens overnight. You're not going to see the shifts, and you're probably going to give up because it's going to be too difficult, too heavy toll on your body and everything, and you're just not going to maintain. I mean, you said it. I mean, the second, what is it? The second Friday you said of January,
yep,
is Quitters, Friday. But it's amazing how that plays, because you're right. You don't take a project, and build it and expect it to actually build overnight. I mean, I give always the example of termites. I mean, they're little tiny. They eat up slowly but surely in the house until it destroys. But they don't destroy the house right up front. I mean, they take their time, but they make it sweet and eventually destroy it. I mean, it's a bad example, but the idea is that small little things can make an impact, and sometimes even more, an impact. And so a little, maybe a hole somewhere can actually have, a little leak, can destroy property, right?
Right.
And many things. But every single little, step, little progress can make a difference. But if you do it today, you take one level. I mean, again, a good example, I mentioned martial arts. When you don't start, you're not going to heavy techniques. You just go basic to basic, right? And then you got to get to that white belt and yellow belt and go slowly, and then you build the momentum to get to where you actually are. And when you're in a black belt level 1, and then that's when you really start the actual work. But the idea is that it takes time, but you have to work your way into it and ease your way into it so you can actually feel the value. And now you're like, you're talking about addiction. Now you become addicted to it. Like, I love this. It keeps me going, and you keep doing, as opposed to like do it all. I mean, that's the other thing. If you put somebody in the beginning and crash them into something, they're just going to hate it and then just going to reject it, and it's over. So thank you for breaking that out, because I think that's a big, and by the way, this will apply to everything else in life, not just fitness. I think every single thing in life, if you wanted something, that you want to have the results in the long term, you want to ease into it, you're going to learn slowly but surely and do it slowly but surely, and then eventually become good at it. I mean, we can talk about podcasts. I mean, you start the podcast, the first podcast is not the same as your 100th podcast. It's just never going to be the same. I mean, you could be good, but I know it's going to improve in time, and a lot of things, whether it's just your setup. So there's so many things, and it's important. Business is the same. You start a business, it's never, when you start a business, never what you see in a few years later. I mean, it starts small. It starts with a lot of, little things, and then you build and you build and you build, you expand, you build, you expand. Before you know it, you have actually a whole empire, right? But that's the life, right? I mean, we even start very small, humble beginnings, right, as a humans, and you grow up, and so that's the same thing here. And I love that, because I think for people watching and listening, if you're making a commitment by your health and fitness and wellness, and you want to get into the fitness world here and just feel good about yourself, don't go crazy initially. I think it's best to find someone that can help you and assist you and guide you, such as Nate, and also get to understand like your limitations, what you can and you can't do, at least initially, and you can build to the next one. I mean, and that's how it is. So that's pretty powerful. I know we're just over the hour here, but I'm not sure about your time, but so we're gonna wrap it up. But I just wanted to maybe get from you. I know we talked about the easy, that was powerful, but let's talk about what would be your best advice right now for anyone who just is new to this, or even in the fitness world, but they want to do better with themselves and have a better outcome in their health.
Easy is a big thing for me.
I'll stick with that.
I
That's
would
good
say
with me.
this. There's really no such thing as a failure when it comes to health and fitness. There's no bad. There's no necessarily. There's not really any wrong. We learn as we go, and so understanding that it's a learning process, and the greatest victory of all, I think, when it comes to health and fitness, is learning about yourself. It's not necessarily looking a certain way or being a certain weight. It's saying, I know myself better now because of that journey that I went on, and realizing that that's kind of the goal with fitness. It really changes the way that we view it, and that's the way that I teach people to view it. That's the way that I wish everyone would view it, because there'd be a lot less ups and downs. There'd be a lot less, I went off track. Okay, now I'm back. I'm going to try again. We're just going to learn, and we're going to let ourselves off the hook when we make a mistake. We're going to learn from it. We're going to try again. That's the whole process. That's the way we learn how to talk, the way we learn how to walk. That's how we learn how to be healthy.
I think that's powerful, man. I mean, between easy and that, I think we got it all. Well, listen, Nate, I mean, it's really a true pleasure to have you on. And I think you've given some real elements that people can apply in life. And first of all, you do this worldwide. I'm assuming through Zoom now, you can help people virtually everywhere. So folks watching, listening, doesn't matter. I know this show goes globally. So if you think you need some assistance in whatever format and learning something new in a different way, here's Nate with us, so he can literally assist you with that. I will have the description with a link to your I guess platform and your podcast as well, so it will be on the description of the show, so people can have that. And that's about it. So I hope that you've enjoyed this time with Nate, and I certainly did. I've learned a few things myself. I always learn in these things. It's amazing, like, the amount of things that you pick up. I have some opinions myself, but you know what? You pick up things, that are different, or at least that you didn't think about. And that's powerful. And I think for all of us, we can take one element at a time and add it to our, ammo of information and tactics and techniques and strategies and apply them in life or whatever that we need, then we will see the results. And I think that's important. Any last words, Nate, to our customers here or clients or listeners or viewers?
No, I would just say just don't stop trying. Don't stop trying.
Powerful, powerful. All right, folks, there you have it. Don't stop trying. Keep it up. Do your thing. I'm Hurricane Age. Thank you for watching, for listening, and we'll be talking soon. New day, new show, new topic, new guest. Bye for now.